December 20th, 2023. It is now 2:02 p.m. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the county boardroom. Roll call.
Laura Tatton here.
Stephen Abraham here.
Randy Bennett here.
Jonathan Davidson here.
George Forst here. Carrie Plummer Kalecki, Mary Davis, and Kyla Starbuck are here. Item 1 on the agenda is
I'll take care of it. We have, and I just want to bring up, we don't have to do a vote on this. It's just the appointment of Randy Bennett. In October, we sent out an email stating that Randy Bennett was agreeable to being reappointed to the Personnel Policy Board, and his term would be 1/1 of 24 to 12/31 of 2028. With that being said, as of November 23rd, we did not receive any other nominations. So Randy Bennett will be reappointed to the Personnel Policy Board for a term starting 1/1 of 24 through 12/31 of 28. And I'll get a, what do you call it? Going to the board resolution. Thank you. Just having a memory lapse there. I'll get a resolution so we can get that on the board agenda, probably hopefully for early January. And then item 2, appointment of a new classified employee appointee. In November, we sent out an email to all the classified employees asking for nominations for a new classified employee representative to the Personnel Policy Board. This person's term will be 12/20 of 23 through 12/31 of 2026. With that being said, as of December 2023, I received Stephen Abraham's nomination for the classified employees. Stephen Abraham will be appointed to the Personnel Policy Board for a term starting 12/20 of 23 through 12/31 of 26. And welcome as a new member.
Yes, thank you.
Then we can go to the minutes. George.
Item 3 is approval of minutes of August 30, 2023. We have a motion to approve.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Randy Bennett, seconded by, did you go by Steve or Steve?
Steve.
Steve
Yes.
Abraham?
Abraham, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
To approve the minutes of August 30, 2023, please vote.
Okay.
So, Mr. Abraham, you'll have to abstain from the vote since you weren't here in August, but then
Yeah.
going forward, you can vote.
Okay, thank you.
We have four people for the approval of the minutes, 1 abstained. Motion carries.
Excuse me. Item number 4 on the agenda, discuss and make recommendations of the personnel rules and regulations. Rule 11, compensation plan. Regulation 1, compensation plan administration. Mary?
Good afternoon, Board. At the request of the county board member, Don Kelly, he asked that we take a look at the merit pay system. So Rule 11, compensation plan, Reg 1, compensation plan administration, Section 5. You'll see recommendations for compensation advancement. The third paragraph talks about merit pay system. And Stephen, just for your information, Sarpy County has a step and grade system, and employees advance based on years of service. In addition to that, we have what we call a merit pay provision.
Yeah.
At the current time, if an employee, if and a merit pay can be requested by the department head or the elected official. They fill out an employee action form. They let us know exactly what that employee did that was either unusual or extraordinary during that time period. And then they are awarded, if it is approved by HR, they are awarded a step increase. Those employees that are at the top of the step, they're really not eligible the way the current system works for a merit adjustment, if you will. So in looking at that, the commissioners thought, we might want to take a look at how that's done. And so what we would like to do is to see if you're open to this idea of changing this policy. And as it currently reads, there, you'll see the red lines, is that effective, we'd like to tie it into the budget system or the budget cycle. The elected official department head would submit a request for a merit award for one of their employees based on the previous fiscal year, right? So the fiscal year runs July 1 through June 30. June 1st, they'd like to have all of the applications in. Those would be looked at and reviewed by a committee, which is formed by the HR director. And then recommendations for awards would be made to the county board. There's a stipulation, whereas 1%, the board would like us to look at the total number of full-time employees, not award any more than 1%. So if we had 700 employees that year, full-time budgeted, 700 employees, then 7 employees would be eligible, would be able to receive a merit award. If we had 14 applications, then the job of the committee is to review those applications and maybe score them. We haven't really worked out the exact procedure yet, but we'd like you to have your input on that. Score those, go through those, discuss them, see which ones are truly exceptional or unusual circumstances that may award a bump. And then the merit pay itself would be 2.5% of the employee's annual salary. That would be in effect probably June 30th of that fiscal year because it happened during that fiscal year. If we were to implement a system like this in the next, maybe in January for that fiscal year, anything that the employee has done from January or the time of approval to the end of the fiscal year would be considered. That would be the time frame for the first year, and then moving forward, it would be for the entire fiscal year. Okay. So really, it's really up to the department heads, the elected official, take a good look at what their employees are doing, reward extraordinary or exceptional service or projects or job performance, make that application, and then we would take a look at that. So I'm sure you have some questions for me.
I mean, I have more just a comment. I think this is something that I've seen from an HR perspective done at other companies, that when people kind of get to the maximum of their pay grade and are no longer eligible for merit increases, this is a way to still go ahead and give them some sort of recognition for good performance without, it being a salary increase, but just a one-time payment. So I'm in favor of this.
Thank you.
I understand that it's a one-time payment, but is this an ongoing one-time payment and is annually renewable, or in the next year another case would need to be made for the same employee?
Right, another case would have to be made.
Okay.
This is not just limited to people at the top of their salary range.
Absolutely not.
It's to anybody that has
it
done
could be
exceptional work.
Anyone,
Right.
any employee, any full-time or part-time employee.
So they could get a bump in pay for their salary and this.
They would move through their step and grade like normal,
Right.
regular, and then they could be eligible for this
as well.
one-time award,
Okay.
if you will.
I understand you're going to be assembling a committee in order to do this.
Mm-hmm.
There are no details provided on what the committee must or, cannot entail? Can you talk about that process a little bit, please?
Sure, sure. And, you know, my thoughts on forming that committee would be to make sure that all of the groups are represented, just like we do with this board. So I would recommend that we have a member of the someone appointed by the county board, somebody appointed by the personnel policy board, member from the elected officials, department heads, the classified, and the unclassified group. And so we would convene, the applications would come in, how I see this working. Applications would come in June 1st. We would convene a meeting, go through those applications, and I plan to put together some kind of scoring mechanism or something in place for that I will run by you before that's actually put into place, if you are open to this idea. And then, you know, basically where it falls, it all depends on what the situation is. You know, what was extraordinary about it, what was unique about the situation, and then we would go from there, you know, kind of rank those, and then the top 7 or the number would move forward to the board for approval.
And as a follow-up question, would that be an ad hoc committee or would that be a standing appointed committee?
I would like to have it a standing appointed committee. That's what I would recommend that. Do you have some thoughts on that?
Go ahead.
This looks like it looks like an annual process, that this would be happening likely every year.
Correct.
So continuity on both process and history are important in committees functioning. So, and with adequate representation from each of the groups, it makes more sense to keep the institutional information and knowledge available for that review process. So I personally would support a standing appointed committee format.
Kind of took the words right out of my mouth, what I was thinking about that standing committee, so. And then I know that you're breaking down a lot of the partitioner walls that's associated with those increases. I just noticed that you went from, you know, specific to wording, requesting a merit, you took the word increase out and added the word award.
Award.
Was there any specific reason for that?
Just because it's a one-time payment versus a step increase that is tied to the employee's salary moving forward.
Okay,
So,
okay.
I guess I've got 2 questions. First, have you contacted any of the labor organizations or employee association to see if they have any input into this idea or this process?
we haven't done that yet.
Moving forward, if any of this is implemented, would there be any impact on the CBAs?
There definitely could be. The bargaining units could try to negotiate this into their contracts.
That said, if it's not in the CBA, would employees covered under the CBA still be eligible for this merit increase? Because now you're going outside the CBA to award monies,
Technically, it's not a merit increase, it's a
or merit award,
Award.
but it's still part of the compensation package.
Yeah. It's,
Anything that puts a couple more dollars into an employee's pocket, I applaud. I just want to make sure we're not going to run into contractual problems 6 months
absolutely.
from now.
Absolutely. And so with that being said, you know, the collective bargaining agreements do not talk about merit pay, except for, I think, the exception of one. And so that is something that, you know, we'll have to discuss,
You know, so
for sure.
that could entail having to go in and ask the various units to reopen a contract.
Sure.
And that's a whole process in and of itself. I think moving forward, I think everybody from the Employees Association and the FOP and 251, everybody needs to be brought on board so they have an idea of what's coming.
Oh, sure, sure. And if it is the board's wishes to proceed, to kind of move forward in this fashion, or with this proposal, if you will, then we will certainly work all of that out and come up with, committee rules, policies and procedures for the committee, application. These changes in this proposed language to you today might be tweaked a little bit, so we would have to bring that back to you. But yeah, if the board is, if you guys are willing to go down this road with us, then this is something that the county board would really like to pursue for the employees.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board?
I did have one more. I noticed that the employee action form usually was submitted to the human resource director and the county administrator, but now the county administrator is no longer a part of this process. Well, is there any reason for that?
No, there's no reason for that. Basically, we put it into a committee's hands. The county board may appoint the county administrator as their representative, or somebody else. But the county administrator is also the personnel officer for Sarpy County, the official personnel officer. So anything that we do in this regard, we will run it by the county administrator.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Carrie, were you requested by anybody else to speak to this?
We did not, the IT department had some questions ahead of time, but I believe we got those addressed. I told them if they were more than welcome to come here, but right now we do not have any.
No one has requested to appear before the board and give their view or comments on the proposed rule. There is no comment period provided. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the changes to personnel rules and regulation, Rule 11 compensation plan as submitted.
I second.
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Motion by Jonathan, second by Randy. Now I gotta go back to my note to read the whole thing.
Sorry.
To make recommendation, or excuse me, to change Rule 11 compensation plan, Regulation 1 compensation plan administration.
As presented.
As presented.
And, as presented. Right. There's no other discussion by the board. Please vote.
I would also have to abstain from this, so as far as votes.
No, you can.
Okay, it was just that first beginning of approval of minutes of August 30th, okay.
4 yea, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We get a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I second.
My fingers won't work.
I only have 2 of them working. I have George and Steve. Did you hit yours yet?
We did vote.
Did you vote?
Closed.
Boop, got it. 5A, motion carries.
We are adjourned.